left my heart in San Francisco, up on a hill. It calls to me.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello, greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the Stereo 999 YouTube channel. I am your host, the artist formerly known as Stereo Steve. And this video, I'm going to talk about electronica, electronic music from the 1990s, which is a genre that holds a special place in my heart, because besides all the other great 90s music, there was kind of a magic time for that stuff, like from 94 up until about the early 2000s, where a lot of really creative stuff was happening. I got a stack of records and CDs, because remember, kids, in the 90s, CDs were the most popular format. That's why those precious rock classics from the 90s cost an arm and a leg to buy an original copy, because they would just make one run of vinyl and that was it, and then it was CD only from then on. So, you know, out of the 47 million copies of Nevermind, maybe 1 million tops were on vinyl, right? Okay. All right, let's just get into, I'm just going to go down this stack of albums and just say whatever comes to my mind about them. This is Haunted Dance Hall by the Sabres of Paradise. And when I was a DJ in a bar, those of you who are my personal friends know what I'm talking about, I played the hell out of this. I had a vinyl copy that just totally got fried and disintegrated. So now the copy I own in my collection is a CD. And this was Andrew Weatherall's band, who you might have seen his name on remixes of British bands like My Bloody Valentine, etc., etc. But Haunted Dance Hall, it's like techno electronica dub kind of opus. And the song Wilmot was kind of the hit. But yeah, this takes me back to 1994 in a big way. This next one I just discovered over the past few years, though I have been a fan of this artist. And I'm focusing on albums. I don't know if this is an album or EP, but this is Budokan Mind Phone by Square Pusher. Who Square Pusher did a lot of like just heavy kind of drum and bassy stuff with a lot of beats. Also played actual fretless bass. And this is a good one. This is a good one to chill out to, but it's also got some beats to it. Okay. This is the Chemical Brothers, Exit Planet Dust. Their first album as the Chemical Brothers, because they were like the UK Dust Brothers, and there was also an American Dust Brothers that did the soundtrack to Fight Club. I might have this wrong. Correct me in the comments. That's what we do here if I say anything wrong, because I'm just kind of talking out of my head. But anyway, this was their first album. This was not the second album was kind of their big breakthrough album. But there are some great tracks on this first album, like Leave Home, which is the Brothers Gonna Work It Out song, and One Too Many Mornings. Good stuff on this. This is worth getting. Okay. Autechre. Is it Autechre or Autechre? Let me know. But this is their debut, which is called Incunabula. And a friend of mine told me to check this out back then in 1993, and I did, and I really like this. This got some great tunes on it. The first song was in a movie called Pi, but this is more in the ambient techno kind of style than the glitchy experimental stuff they did later on. I mean, they have some records that are pretty challenging to get your mind around. But this is a nice one. This is a good place to start with this artist, Autechre. Here's one not too many people talk about. I don't know that much about them, but this is on the Rising High label that their records always had this symbol. And somebody at a record store said, yeah, most of what's on this label is good, so just grab Rising High stuff. But this artist is called Air Liquide, and this album is called Nephology, the New Religion. And this has got some pulsating techno tracks that are very hypnotic. And this has also got some kind of ambient next morning after being up all night kind of vibes to it. And I really like this album a lot. Tales of Ephedrina by Amorphous Androgynous. The drug references were very subtle on these records. For example, there was a song called Bubble and Slide on this Haunted Dance Hall. But anyway, Amorphous Androgynous is a Future Sound of London side project. And it's just a really nice, ethereal, ambient techno album. I mean, you can see by the futuristic cover straight from Buck Rogers that this is going to be a chill outing. And the song Mountain Goat I used to play all the time in my DJ sets. I also have a 12-inch of that somewhere. But yeah, speaking of Future Sound of London, I picked this to show you. This was their album ISDN, which they, over ISDN lines, like broadcast this performance all over the world on the internets. And this original vinyl version totally replicates right down to the Velcro the fancy fold out that the original CD had, where it folds out like this and like this, and then there's two records, and you've got this crazy artwork inside. But yeah, some great songs on this, like Amoeba, and of course Smokin' Japanese Babe, and Far Out Son of Lung and the Ramblings of a Madman. So yeah, and there were some prog rock connections with the more adventurous electronic artists. Folks like Steve Hillage and Robert Fripp made guest appearances on Future Sound of London and Orb albums. In the meantime, this guy was pretty much a lone wolf. Did it all himself. Richard James, aka Aphex Twin. This is the first Aphex Twin album, which is a collection of everything, you know, see, he went through all the stuff he did from when he first started making music up until 92 when this was released. All right, yeah. And really wonderful tracks on here, like Thaw, We Are the Music Makers, Aegeus Polis. So I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's track 4 on this CD was sampled by D'Antwoord. But anyway, this is great. And you know, Ambient Volume 2, which a lot of people talk about, is more like kind of Brian Eno ambient spacey. This is ambient music with a beat, and it kind of set the standard for ambient music with a beat in 1992. Alright, this is the debut album by Amon Tobin, Bricolage. Amon Tobin was originally from Brazil and now resides in Los Angeles, but he was one of the first electronica musicians to combine jazzy influence and some kind of hip-hop turntablism into his music. Everything I've heard from Amon Tobin has been pretty great, but you know, this is the first album. You could start with the first album. It's a goodie. Okay. And just because this is 1998, I picked this one because I could pick any of their releases. Boards of Canada. Are they Canadian? No. Where'd they get the name from then?
Ow.
They were trying to make kind of nostalgic sounding, distorted electronic music that sounded like the scores to the educational films that were made by Film Board of Canada. They're from Scotland, and I could really pick any of their albums. I've seen a lengthy video decoding all the secret messages in their second album, Geogati, but I'm focusing on the 90s, and this album, their debut, came out in 1998, right? 1998. So I was talking about how Amon Tobin added jazz to the electronic. Well, these guys added lounge music to the electronic. A lot of samples of old easy listening records constructed into these cool soundscapes. Tipsy, and this is their first album, Trip Tease, the seductive sounds of Tipsy. And you can see the kind of lounge music aesthetic, but kind of twisted. With this graphics. You know, pour yourself a drink, put this record on, and a splendid time is guaranteed for all. Okay, Meat Beat Manifesto. Still going as far as I know. They go as far back as the 80s and industrial music. But this album from, I think, 94, Subliminal Sandwich, was where they really started to branch out into the ambient, into the experimentation, in my opinion. Especially with this second disc that remixes the whole album. I guess this originally belonged to Pam. Alright, well thank you, Pam.
All right. A little gentle wake-up music there for you. That was Suction Prince from Captain Beefheart's new album, Shiny Beast, Back Chain Puller. And looking at the clock right now, it's 8:25 on a Wednesday morning. The streets of Cincinnati are deserted. The police suspect foul play. And speaking of foul play, dig this.
It is ordained that they be stoned to death. Stone them!
Now Radio Shack makes it easy to listen to your favorite music in your car, anytime, wherever you drive. With a tremendous half-price sale on this 8-track tape player by Realistic. During our sale, it's only $29.95. You save $30. That's enough to pay for speakers, tape, and a whole lot more. The sale-priced Realistic 8-track stereo tape player, only at Radio Shack. A Tandy company.
Oh, no, you can't leave yet. You gotta have a nice cup of tea with me.
I wasn't going to get too deep into compilations because there's so many, and a lot of them are kind of tough to find these days anyway. But I am going to talk about this series, Excursions in Ambience, that came out on the Astralworks label. There were promo vinyl copies of this for DJs. I don't feel like digging mine out, so screw it, I'm going to just show the CD. But they had a pretty wide variety of artists and vibes. This one has Flying Saucer Attack and another Future Sound of London spin-off, Far Out Son of Lung, and Le Bradford, and 777, which was Steve Hillage, and Single Cell Orchestra, who was Miguel Fierro, who later on was doing stand-up comedy. But yeah, this fourth one and this volume 3, I'm going to say these are the two best ones because these are the two I have. This compilation on the Asphodel label, Incursions in Ilbient. You know, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about especially electronic music, but a lot of music these days is everybody makes their own little micro genre. So Ilbient is the dark side of ambient. And this record, it's on vinyl, it's a 2-record set with one side each of 4 different artists. The first side is Subdub, the second side is DJ Spooky, the third side is Bizarre, spelled B-Y-Z-A-R, and the fourth side is We. And yeah, I highly recommend Incursions in Ilbient for your like 4 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep, wanna get back into a trance state, messed up dreams be damned. Incursions in Ilbient. Okay, last but not least, gotta mention the Orb, Alex Patterson, groundbreaking, conceptual. I'm going to show the double live 1993 CD because that hammers home that this is 90s music I'm talking about. And I saw them, I think, on this tour because I saw them at the Warfield in 1993. And they had some cool screen projections and stuff. And you know, we got fog here in the city, you know. Little fluffy clouds are a luxury. But yeah, all this great music was happening in the background along with all the great rock and roll and metal and pop that we had in the 90s. So yeah, if I fired your curiosity to check out any of these albums, then I did what I did. Okay then, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and peace.